Hey, how you doing? My name is Ryan, and today I'm beginning the process of making this year's Halloween costume. And let me just say, I can feel the pressure already. Last year's costume of Spider-Man was a huge success, and the video about how I made that costume became the second most viewed video on my channel with over 200,000 views. Seriously guys, thank you so much for that. Anyway, this year's costume is going to be a little bit different for a few reasons. First, I'm no longer on a college kid budget. I can actually spend some money on this year's costume and make it look really good. Two, because of that budget, I can make my costume a lot more complex and intricate and show off a lot more skills than cutting, hot gluing, and Sharpie. Three, I'm not putting any logos on this costume because I know I messed up that Spider-Man logo and 70% of all the comments remind me every day. Makes me sad. And fourth, as I'm sure you guessed by the title of this video, I'm breaking up the Halloween building process into several mini vlogs. That way, I can show you a bit more of the design process, show off how I think, how I build, and also the mistakes I make. So, without further delay, let's get to work on this year's Halloween costume. For 2018, I'm continuing the Marvel costume legacy and going as Thor, the god of thunder. But I'm going as the Infinity War variant of Thor with the short hair and two eyes, and most importantly, Stormbreaker. I know a lot of you guys wanted me to build that, and now I finally get the chance to do it. So the first step of building any costume is the design process. This is where you sketch out a rough draft of the costume and decide what parts you need. I already have a list I compiled on Amazon because I have been thinking about this for a while. The main costume is comprised of about 4 pieces. You have a vest with all his armor padding on it. You have pants, which appear to be faux leather, his boots, and his arm sleeves, which have almost a chain metal design to them. That's the basic rough of the costume. Now, I have to break apart these 4 elements into their subcomponents and decide what parts I need to buy. So for the vest, I'm going to need a lot of foam from Michaels, it seems like, to add all the little intricate patterns to it. I'm also going to need a belt so I can tighten and make everything feel snug and fit. As for the vest itself, I'm thinking I might take a hoodie or a jacket and either zip it up or button it up, so that way I'm not taking a shirt on and off and causing the foam to be all ruffled around. I want to be attached to some article of clothing. Also, I need a cape as well. The pants, I'm just going to find faux leather pants, maybe even leather leggings if I can find those, and dirty them up and maybe add a few little details to them. The boots are just going to be black boots. I think I might already have those here. That's awesome. And Stormbreaker is going to be a project in itself, so I'll tackle that in a little bit. So, I have the most rough of sketches done. I'm not the greatest artist when it comes to drawing fast, but I'll make more detailed versions when I'm actually building these things. Time to go out and get some parts.
So,
this is the material.
for the cape?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. That's nice. So the cape is actually red on the outside, blank on the inside, so it has to be 2 layers. We're also looking for this scale fabric.
I just love fuzzy things. This is the one we were looking at that you didn't like the price of.
Yeah, this one's a bit expensive one, I remember, but it's
close to what you want. I think it's gonna be
pretty
too
close.
shiny.
I think
this one. This is what you want.
That's definitely closer
That's
though.
what you want though. I should have shown that to you.
Remember how I said this costume was going to be a bit more expensive than Spider-Man? So this is the pattern I'm going to use for the arm sleeves. It is $30 a yard. Always check the scrap section. Good prices, and I think I might have found my fabric for the cape. At Walmart, looking for a zip-up sweatshirt in black and faux leather pants.
Daddy shark doo 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 doo. I work with kids. Daddy shark.
So Walmart was a bit of a bust.
It could have been Chewbacca.
I could have been Chewbacca, but we couldn't find really exactly what we needed, so we're going to Target instead. looking for the exact same items: black thin zip-up sweatshirt and black faux leather pants. Can we go lower? Uh-oh, favorite person ever?
But they also have it in medium. I wasn't sure which size you'd want.
That's perfect. So
I tried to go through the clothes, but you can't do that.
So Lindsay is the best. She found both the pants, blocking your face, and also she found this wonderful button-up, sleeveless, it's like a jean jacket top almost,
I'm in my women's section.
for $7.
Most of Ryan's stuff came from the women's section today.
So same as last year, essentially.
Well, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Men's section, I love men's clothes because they're so comfortable, but they don't work well for all the extra pieces for the costumes.
That's true.
So you go to the women's section.
All right, see you back at home.
Now you
We're back from the store. I call this shopping spree a huge success. I got a lot of what I needed. Bunch of black foam and brown foam for Thor's vest, some buckles, an elastic for the belt, red fabric for the cape, black fabric for the cape, sewing needles and sewing kit, this wonderful chain pattern fabric for the arm sleeves, this button-up vest with collar as a base for the vest, and these fantastic black faux leather leggings. By the end of the month, this will be a darn good looking Thor costume. I think the first step of construction will be building the cape. It's the easiest, so we'll work our way up.
Fun fact, I can barely sew. I've gotten pretty good over the years, but I'm nowhere near...
Brian, I love you, but you didn't even know how to do the double thread. You didn't know how to tie it off. And to be fair, you completely sewed it wrong to the point where if I slightly ripped at it, it would just tear right off. I love you very much, and I will teach you how to sew correctly. Okay? You're so good at everything else. Everyone has their thing right. I've got lots of them.
So, long story short, Lindsay will sew the cape together.
So we bought 1.5 yards of this wonderful fabric. It's kind of shiny on the outside, but fuzzy on the inside.
What side do you want at which side? You want the fuzzy on the inside or the outside?
Fuzzies should be on the outside of the sandwich.
Alright, so do me a
Fold
favor
those down.
and fold these the way that you would like them folded. I will cut them in half and then I will make it for you, okay? It should not take me that long. Flashback to the spray painting incident. So when you pin, you always go like this, in and out, and like that. There you go. I'm doing my best to line this up. For those of you who do not know how to sew, like Ryan, it's not hard. Do not be intimidated, but do not make up your own way if you don't know how to properly do it because it's not going to hold properly. And I'm all for people figuring out their own way to do things. Don't get me wrong, but if you do it wrong with sewing, you're going to regret it because if it pulls out, you've just wasted all that time. And I don't want you guys to have to redo it a bunch of times, so just keep in mind, it's okay if you don't know how to do something, but it's really easy to learn how to sew, I promise.
What you using, Lindsay, to sew?
A special curved needle so I don't have to worry too much about how I sew.
While Lindsay works on making the cape, I'm going to work on making this vest easier to take on and off. So it's time to sew some Velcro. So I sewed the thing correctly, kind of. So the Velcro is actually sticky, so I stuck it on the buttons on the inside. So now to take it on and off is a lot easier. Button the bottom button, so, and then just line the Velcro up. And it's on, it's not going anywhere.
So the cape is done. I started out sewing it inside out and then I flipped it. So then you get this nice, pretty smooth seam. And then now you have a double-sided cape and I'm now going to attach this to the vest.
Nah, nah, nah. Don't get copyright strike on YouTube.
Hi, Yosh.
This thing's heavy. Oh my gosh.
Oh, Yosh, who is it? Oh, big smile. You finally got it on camera.
So this is the costume right now without my sweatshirt underneath of it.
Turn around.
Arms are obviously exposed. I don't have the scales yet.
Good, stand straight. Tilt your shoulders back a bit.
That?
Both of them, yeah. That looks nice. The bottom's a little uneven. I apologize for that.
That's okay. It feels like it's not.
It feels like a movie costume and not a Halloween costume, and yeah.
So the vest looks fantastic. The cape is all attached to it. What's the last thing we're doing tonight, Lindsay?
I am making him sleeves. Bring me Thanos!
So we're actually gonna measure my arms to make sure we have the right length.
Bring me Thanos! It's beautiful! And you don't look right. I just stand up. You might not be able to film right now.
Never! You can't stop me! Okay, got the measurements.
So all this fabric will be cut off and sewn together so that it winds up looking exactly like that.
An arm sleeve, essentially.
Yeah, so I need to know. Wait, one second. I need another.
She's just the MVP of this costume, isn't she? I guess step one of costume building is get yourself a Lindsay.
Okay, that was really sweet.
Good morning, sleepyhead.
Cheers.
So last time we...
Ryan, what did we do last time? What do you mean, what did we do last time?
Last time we built out the
What
main...
did I do last time?
We built out the main base of the body of the costume, including the vest, the cape, and started measuring the arm sleeves. In between videos, Lindsay stitched together the metal pattern into these lovely arm sleeves.
I was actually really impressed with myself. I didn't know that I was that good at making sleeves.
We also added two extra pieces, two circle pieces on the shoulders, here and here, to hide some of the edges. And
We used a piece of, Ryan used an old t-shirt and we cut the sleeves off, and we used the sleeves so that he would have more mobility because this is not a very flexible fabric.
So when I first tried it on without that piece, the shirt piece, I could barely move my arms, like wearing a tiny blazer. Back in my private school, wearing like a little tiny blazer.
Yeah, well, you put the arms on and you were like...
I can't move. But today, we're doing probably the most labor-intensive part of the costume.
Labor intensive. Do you know how long these took me to do?
Today we're doing the actual detail work, the foam pattern on the main vest. So, I have my rough sketch of the costume, which Lindsay made fun of when I was editing the video. We're going to use reference images on my computer and on my phone to get a better idea of what pieces we need to make and cut out of this black craft foam. I have two different variants. I have thick craft black foam, and I have thin black foam. Here's a comparison.
Say craft black foam 3 times.
Craft black foam, craft black foam, craft black foam.
Yep, there you go.
So we're going to use this silver Sharpie to draw out the pattern on the black foam.
Mm-mm. Just kidding.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, because I just want it to be obnoxious.
Because
like, no!
after we cut it out and glue it on, I'm actually going to end up painting the entire front of the vest with some detail brushes and some silver to give it a nice metallic look.
Cool.
Actually, it's kind of almost a vinyl look, to be honest. Lindsay is taking a phone call, so I'm going to sketch out the first half of this pattern. Then it goes that way.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Hey Ryan, quick question.
Yeah.
So this will be all day, right?
How? I mean,
She wanted to know if I wanted to meet her for a few minutes for coffee. Would you mind if I ran over there?
not at all. I'll take care of this and this. So now I have to mirror this pattern on the other side of the foam. So I'm going to try my best to get it to be as even as possible. This top piece actually has some more layers on it I need to draw out. I'm gonna trace this onto another piece, cut that out, and then I'm actually gonna glue these pieces onto the big piece I cut first, and then trim the excess once it's glued. That way I know it's gonna be an even flush edge. I don't care too much if I get hot glue on the vest because it's going to be covered in foam by the end of this anyway. But I'll try to keep it as clean a surface as possible. There we go. Alright, progress so far. This is going to be really time consuming because there's a lot of detail pieces to add on. So because the vest opens up at the front, I'm going to eventually glue all the pieces on each side first, and then Velcro any piece that goes across both sides, like that big V, or any middle pieces to cover up the seam. One of the things I find that's useful is when you are adding all the little detail pieces, look through your scraps first. Look through all the little pieces you have laying around from the larger ones you cut, because you might find the right shape and size you need, as opposed to getting a new sheet and not having that extra surface if you need a larger piece. So always look through your scrap pieces if you're looking for a smaller piece to cut out for detail work. I'm going to use this stick foam to make the various circle pieces that are throughout the armor. I'm using a bottle to trace my circle out for the small ones. And for the larger ones, I'm probably going to use something like this, perhaps, this fishbowl. So after cutting out these armor circle pieces, I realized I've made my holes for them in the costume, the divots that are supposed to cradle them, I made them way too small. So I'm going to have to trim them to make them a lot bigger to make sure they fit these pieces. I told you, you're going to see mistakes in this video. That's a lot better. I'm going to start gluing pieces together. Nothing's going to be glued to the chest right now. I'm just going to glue layers down to itself. I think I have a pretty close lock to the look of what I want the vest to be. Also, Lindsay's back from her breakfast with
I
her
had
grandmother.
coffee with my grandma. She called me and she's like, I'm down the street. You want to get coffee? And I'm like, yeah, I want to get coffee. I love my grandma.
She loves coffee. Now, the hard part's going to be putting the vest on and gluing everything to the vest while I'm wearing it. Otherwise,
is it safe?
it won't...
Is it going to hurt you?
No, it should be
Too
fine.
hot? Or should you put something under it so that it doesn't
Remember
hurt?
this probably.
Okay, should you put like cardboard or something under it? Or a towel?
No, a towel won't get it to fit right.
Okay.
It's a low temp hot glue gun. Okay. Safety warning: if you're doing this kind of stuff, don't do a high temp hot glue gun because it will be really hot. Do a low temp, which is what we have, a craft one. Now is also a great time to show off the arm sleeves. Lindsay did a fantastic job with that. So as I mentioned before, the circular piece is actually right here.
So it's gonna go like this, right?
Yes. So imagine
like this.
Imagine
your arm.
Well, imagine you're following that seam right there.
Yes.
So the question is, this corner piece you have to either cut down to get it to fit underneath the arm.
Or yeah, we have to cut it like that.
Yeah, you want to do it right now? Yeah, follow the seam you made. And I'll add detail work to it.
Good?
Yeah.
Alright, so I want to glue this to right here. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, now I need to glue the rest of it down. Woo! I got
one
the first
part down, time to do the rest of it.
So first things first.
Your stick fell out.
Nah, I saw nothing here.
Yeah! Yeah! Oh my god, this is fantastic already.
So we're gonna need Velcro now.
Yes! So what you do when you're gluing Velcro down is you glue down one side, you keep the Velcro attached to it so that you can then peel off the extra piece of 3M tape, attach glue to that, and then stick it right where you need it to be. The glue is stronger than the Velcro,
so it's not going anywhere. Now, you really only have one chance of this, which is a little bit nerve-wracking, but...
Hold it up first to make sure you like where it is.
I can't really see where it is.
I see what you need. Alright, we're good.
Alright, we're doing this.
So let's let it dry for a few minutes and then we'll take it off, okay?
Yeah.
Is everything else look alright? Like right here, I know it's not fully open. Do you want me to cut it along here? Or...
No, the belt will cover that.
Perfect.
Watch. So I got the belt,
Alright,
like
I
T'Challa.
see.
and then T'Challa.
So is that going to be connected to this piece?
No, the Velcro. Not the Velcro.
The other part. The underneath part. This piece.
No, this guy.
Oh, it's connected to the belt. Do you want to do that now then?
It's part of the belt.
Oh, well, let's do that now then. You okay?
Yeah.
Please be careful. Alright, so this is nice because I need
Oh,
to see
shit.
exactly where it is. So this part, would you like me to glue these together like that to keep them together?
No, I like that separation. Yeah.
Alright, you'll take that off now? Make sure that works, right? Cool. And now put it back on and make sure it goes on like that. Cool. Alright, for this, I'm gonna stick it down a bit more.
You got it. So these pieces, these are the ones that go, what about there? And they fold over the back.
So let's glue it there first, and then we'll fold it over.
Well, make sure it doesn't go over the ball thing.
It doesn't.
Cool.
Just go scoot it over this way.
Oh, we need to get a stick ready to go. Teamwork!
La 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 la. We're so good at it. I'll pick it up in a second.
This is the update for right now. This is so far what we're looking at. I actually stitched a few pieces of foam to the jackets to keep it to hold even better. And a few more pieces of Velcro just for this little tab right here. And then I have to paint the whole thing to get it to look super good, not like foam. But
Turn around. Yeah, we'll clean up the little glue on the back and stuff.
yeah, there's still some cleanup to do, but in terms of actually basing out the entire costume,
This is awesome.
I'm quite happy with this.
I love
And
the sleeves.
take the whole thing off. It's actually really easy. This piece just pops right off. And just kind of shimmy out of it. Now, I still have a lot of leftover foam for the wrist guards and some detail work on the pants, but that's for another day. So, it's been a couple of days. I'm back at Target picking up some more supplies. I need some more hot glue, some black duct tape, some painter's tape, and whatever else I can find. Over the past few days, I've made some minor tweaks to the foam vest. I redesigned the entire front piece that velcros off, and I used fewer larger pieces as opposed to a bunch of smaller ones to make it look a lot cleaner. I also took a coat hanger wire and bent it a little bit and stitched it to that front chest piece so that now it has a more curve to it and better fits my chest, better fits the shape of my body. So I grabbed what I needed, except I actually already have painter's tape, so I put that back. I didn't need that. Saved me like $4. Can't complain too much. I would say I'm about halfway through building this costume, but that still leaves me with a lot of work left to do. And let's do it. So this is the new front chest piece panel. As you can see, it has a bit of a bend to it from the coat hanger, so it fits better on my body. I'm gonna take some black duct tape that I got and cover up that silver and make it even stronger. There we go. Much better. Come to think of it, I actually could use that Gorilla Tape on the main vest itself. Strengthen up some pieces and clean up some edges. Looking a little bit cleaner now. Also, I picked up a set of rollerblading pads. It has wrist guards, knee pads, elbow pads. I'm gonna use the wrist guards for the costume, but I need to remove this plastic piece on top of it to get rid of that bump.
And now for the final step, at least for today, time to paint the vest. I got myself a can of spray paint, black, flat, primer, and paint. But first, I need to mask off the silver arm sleeves and cape to make sure I don't get black paint on them. I also went ahead and masked off the velcro on the main vest as well. That way, it doesn't get covered in paint and lose its usability. Let's paint. Wow, this spray paint smells terrible, but it looks incredible. It hides all the hot glue marks, all the silver Sharpie marks, and even the white thread I used to sew some of the pieces of foam to the vest. Now, this thing is starting to look pretty darn good. With some detailing work, oh, it's gonna pop. Now, no good costume would be complete without an accessory/prop, and this costume is no exception. I finally got a chance to make Stormbreaker, Thor's axe hammer weapon hybrid. I have been yearning to make this prop ever since Project Infinity back in March. Now, a lot of DIY Stormbreakers tutorials I've seen on YouTube make their prop out of foam, make it lightweight, foam, PVC, that kind of stuff. And while they look fantastic, I wanted to make mine a little bit differently. I wanted to give it more heft, so I decided I'm making my Stormbreaker out of wood. This is going to be really heavy, have some actual weight to it, and feel more majestic. Now, the design for Stormbreaker isn't actually that difficult. Much like the movie, I'm making mine out of 3 parts: the axe, the hammer, and the handle. But first things first, if I'm making this out of wood, I need some scrap wood. I think there's a pile of scraps outside, actually. So, we got some wood. Also, Angelo's here.
Hey.
For the back of the hammer, we're going to use this giant block of wood, cut it down and carve it. For the axe piece, we're going to use one of the flat pieces around here. And for the handle, we're going to find just like a basic 2x4 or something like that and carve it down. Or,
Yeah, I mean, so you kind of do like that.
yeah, we could do that.
And
Or
how do you connect pieces?
we could cut this,
Mhm.
cut a bit farther down, cut that like in half. Like, cut in half this way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the problem is if we're stitching too many pieces of wood together, it's not going to be,
It won't work.
not going to look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a conundrum because
Yeah, this is gonna, so this piece might not be actually thick enough.
like or wide enough really for the back of the axe.
Yeah, I'll have this. Why don't we, while we think about that, let's work on the axe and the handle. 'Cause
Yeah.
we know that stuff's gonna be.
Yeah, that's solid. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, that's easy to do. That's just taking a piece of wood like something like this,
Mm-hmm.
drawing an axe onto it, using a jigsaw, cutting it out,
That's
sanding it down.
simple. This. Okay. Yeah.
Kind of square out this way, and then it comes up a little notch.
Yeah, it's quite pointed in the front.
Is that too big to think though?
It's nice. I mean,
I'll give myself room to sand it down.
Yeah,
and
it's
get
true.
it smaller.
yeah. Bam. It's hammer time. It is hot. The wires are hot. Ooh, look at that. Ooh. Seems kind of dangerous. Eye protection. Check.
Sweet.
How's that eye protection holding up?
Okay. That'll happen every now and then.
We allowed ourselves some flexibility on the inside path. Wasn't really looking there, and the video was slightly above where it should have been. Very nice. That could help.
It'll be a bit more even.
I've been enthralled by the sand jumping up and down.
Oh, that's so much better.
That's a lot better. That's looking great.
Remember, guys, measure once, cut twice.
Okay, we're screwing in the handle now.
Alright, so let's decide how tall to make this actually.
Yeah.
So I think that height. So disregard that top bit.
That's tall. This is the fun saw. This is a scary place to be.
Oh, I
This
like
would make a
that.
good haunted house.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Dun. Yeah, very nice. Boy, I keep forgetting that. The classic fuzzy strokes they teach you in art.
Yay!
Woohoo.
Watch out. If you notice, I actually kept a lot more space here, flat and untouched by the saw and by the sander, because that's where I'm going to actually attach the
head, yeah.
head of the
Right.
axe and the head of the hammer.
This is really not part of the handle at all. It's the handle is really just.
Yeah, this
there.
is the. If that's the. If this is the.
Yep.
Yeah. It looks a bit thin right now, but we're also going to add some bulk to it. Went to Michael's and grabbed these fake branches, so we can actually attach these on
Wrap them.
and wrap them around, and look, it's actually bulk.
I had a lot of thickness.
So that'll add all the.
How flexible are they though? They don't think they're kind of stiff.
Well, they're going to attach on, and I have. These are pretty stiff.
We have the reef, yeah.
Yeah, this. This will be what we can wrap around.
Destroy that, yeah. Bless you. All this sawdust.
All the saw.
Killing you. You know who would really not like being in this room? Anakin. So much sand. Yeah, that looked like it had been worn down a bit. Definitely needed a
Here we
more
go.
grittier.
Here's some 60 grit.
Good, good. Yeah, we want to do some damage to this wood. So the lower the number, the grittier it is?
Yep. Well, yeah, the lower the number, the less refined it is.
Right, that makes sense.
I think that's getting pretty close.
Yeah. Because we want it to go slightly above, right? Like we gotta have a little bit. Or do we? Is it flush or is it?
I'm gonna give it a bit more.
Yeah.
Still a little bit.
What? Well, that's what I was thinking. Somehow if we can combine them, you really get a perfect shape, man.
Easy. If I attach a bit of bulk around the outside of it,
Mhm.
I can then sand it down to make that
Yeah.
that tapered shape that we want.
Whoa, we are going to saw number 5.
It actually doesn't fit. I have to actually.
It's kind of a scary saw.
I have to. Oh, I can't read this anymore. Oh my god, I have to go to this guy again.
Oh, number 1. Back to number 1. Now it's
Yeah.
much thinner.
Okay.
That's very nice. Oh, that's awesome.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. It's heavy duty.
We can do a little bit better though. We can do a little bit better.
We can always do better. It's like, Ryan, you know these aren't just really big Legos we're putting together here.
Like that shape now.
Oh, yeah. Now we just go with the 3. Very nice.
I like that.
Very nice. Alright.
And that also gives us a bit of bulk on all 4 sides. Bit of construction on this. This is,
I know, right?
this is exciting.
Connected.
We've been mostly just kind of destroying wood over here. Now we're actually. Oh, that looks cool actually.
That's very cool.
Quite a fan of that.
Well, all these vines we're gonna have on this.
Oh my god.
Oh, wow. It's like a bludgeon.
I like that. I like that a lot.
You know how many like rotations per second that thing does?
2. Unless we do 1.
Well, how is that gonna be? Because that's not gonna be flush. The big block. There's the L. There's the L.
Oh, brackets for that.
Oh, it's getting into the board below it.
No, no way.
It's not? It's not going through it?
The screw's not long enough to go all the way through.
I guess it's just getting stuck. There you go.
Yay!
It's great.
Dude, feel it.
You're a true Axeman.
Feel it.
Well, this already has a lot of weight
Like,
to it.
right?
I guess 2 L's on each side.
I'm thinking you're right on that one.
Yeah, on the ends, I guess, probably the best. Basically providing a slot for you to fit the rest of it in. Boom.
Got that right.
You is Thor!
This has some weight to it.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my god. Dude,
Wow.
give it a feel. Here.
Holy It's not going anywhere either. Classic X pattern. So this truly is Groot that we're putting. We're fixing the arm of Groot onto this hammer right now. So bad.
Thank you. Appreciate the support.
That was really bad. Okay.
Yay!
The whole thing did shift though, but freaking tight. Oh, it actually is making it very tight now.
Cool. I like.
Ryan likes. Hey Ryan, hold that puppy up one more time. Yo.
This is kind of janky. What
Yeah,
isn't?
you can go through there. Right?
I think I do this.
Oh, that's cool. Go back up.
Float.
Fish it a little bit. Right?
After quite a bit of fishing vines through and tying around, I am really pleased with how this is turning out. I'm just adding a little handle right now, a place where I can grab it comfortably.
All right.
Alright, so this is Stormbreaker so far. This is crazy weird feeling. It's heavy as can be. Has some great heft to it, but
Oh yeah, it's intense though.
I
That's,
really like the
it's-
I like the bark work on it.
it's got some great lines to it.
Yeah, it has some good forms. The back of the axe, I like that shape quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So next step is gonna be I'm gonna add foam to this. I'm gonna do this probably on a different day though.
Yeah.
So I will see you soon. Welcome back. It's a new day. I'm gonna keep working on Stormbreaker. I'm gonna paint the handle brown and the axe head and hammerhead black. I'm not worried too much about complete coverage of paint right now, because one, most of the axe and hammerhead will be covered in detail foam, and then repainted silver anyway, and two, I'm going to add a lot of detail work to the handle with lighter tones of brown and darker tones of silver on the axe head and hammer. We're back inside. Stormbreaker's looking great so far. Now it's time to add some detail work. Rather than carve it into the wood itself, I'm going to add on some pieces of foam for all the little bits of detail. Now these pieces of foam do have stick-on backs, but I'm going to play it safe and grab my hot glue gun. Better. Alrighty. So after a little bit more foam work, I think I finally have Stormbreaker looking really good. But I still have to paint the entire top piece silver, and because it's fall, the sun sets really early, so I have to wait another day, but that's just one of the downsides of making a Halloween costume. So I'll see you tomorrow. I think we're approaching the home stretch of making my own version of Stormbreaker. Last thing for right now, I have to give the axe head and hammerhead a coat of silver metallic spray paint. So I definitely plan on adding some detail paintwork to both the axe head, hammer head, and the branch too. But the reason I did a coat of matte black before adding silver is so I already have a two-tone paint job and it looks really pretty. Well, I am really happy with how Stormbreaker has turned out so far. For my money's worth, the heft of it, the way it was made, and the woodworking really make this feel a lot more special than a lightweight foam PVC prop.
We are approaching the home stretch. This is it. Now we are adding the finishing touches and detail work to both the costume and the Stormbreaker. I could not be happier with how this has been turning out. I am super pleased with all the little touches, and now it's time to wrap it all together. I'm going to start with some detail paintwork. I'm going to add some silver and dark gray to both the costume pieces, and then some black and brown to Stormbreaker. I always find that detail work is when the costume really comes to life, because right now it looks very flat, almost, dare I say, two-dimensional, but with some weathering effects and some little touches of color here and there, it's gonna pop and it's gonna shine, much like the Spider-Man costume. Paint some silver onto these circular balls. Using an old brush because that just helps with the sort of wacky application. What's cool is that when painting black foam silver, sometimes the black foam will absorb some of the color, so even if you apply too thick of a coat, it dulls it down a little bit. And now I'm going to add some dark gray. Using the exact same brush because I want this to be a little bit, not sloppy, but not as pristine. This will just kind of give me 3 tones to work with: black, dark gray, and silver. I might even go over with a little bit more black at the end. Can't do what I did last time with Spider-Man. I can't add fire to this because the foam will really light up on fire, and that is not a good thing. What's key is that you don't blend the silvers together entirely. You don't want one tone of medium gray. You want little sparkles of light silver and then shadows of dark silver throughout the circles. I think we got this looking pretty darn good, at least for a first coat. I might do a second one of light silver over top of these just to add a bit of shine to it, but I'm liking the way these are turning out. Now, fun little damage technique. If you want to add some scarring or a little bit of claw marks on the costume, take a dirty brush, dip it into some light silver, or whatever color you think would be an appropriate scratch, and just very lightly go right across it. Get lovely little claw marks, and it looks like it was Kevlar that's been scratched, or metal that's been scratched. Alright, time to go in for the highlights. Have my metallic silver, my shiny metallic silver. Oh, that's really bright. Okay. It's also really liquidy. See if I can get a nice just shine on these pieces without blending it too much. I'm also using some dark gray to add some wear effect on the black vest. So if you actually brush it in all the way and almost like rub it in, you can kind of get it to look like it's just been used up. Stain work. Now do this sort of in the places I think would have the most wear. So any little crack, crevice, or really fine detail work, that'll probably be damaged the most first. Time to go in with a little bit of black, just to darken up some areas here and there, and to cover up any unwanted scratches or anything that I think I might have overdone. It looks like the black is a little bit darker than the black spray paint that I used to paint the whole vest,
So this means I can add some shadow work, which is also a plus. Black acrylic paint is also really good for burn marks on costumes, as is Sharpie. So if you don't actually have a lighter or you don't feel safe burning the material, poke a tiny hole, paint the edges black, and rub it in a little bit. Keep it a little bit flaky though, if you can. This is one of my favorite parts of costume building. It just is almost therapeutic. But I'm gonna stop for now, at least for the costume part. I still have Stormbreaker to detail work. Now for Stormbreaker, because I already did a two-tone paint job, a coat of black first, then a coat of silver on top, there's not so much to do here. But I still can add some wear and tear and some touch-ups. I'm gonna start with some wear and tear, add some black, and once again, finding the parts of the prop that I think would take the most amount of wear, and that's of course going to be the back of the hammer piece and the front of the axe, where the actual point is. A pretty common point. Dirty it up a little bit. Cool. It's not as much of a significant difference than the costume, but it's a difference that I will notice. Now I also bought a different tone of brown to add a second color to the branch, but first I probably should wash this brush off. That'll do. The best thing about detail work on Stormbreaker's handle is that I can miss sections. I can be as sloppy as I want. Even if there's a section that I missed with both the dark brown and the light brown detail work, it's going to look like wood because it's wood. So the detail work on Stormbreaker looks great. It's definitely more subtle than the detail work on the vest, but detail is detail and I'm going to add it. The costume is basically done. All the parts I need to make and build and paint, that's finished. All that's left to do is, well, wait to try to grow a beard out, spike my hair up, and spray it with some dark brown hairspray. I usually have a hard time growing a beard, so I'll check in a few days. Alright, so this is it. This is the almost completed Thor costume. All I'm missing is the makeup on my face. But I have a rule that until Halloween, I never do everything for the costume. I never wear everything. So this is as close as I can get to showing you guys the finished product without actually breaking that rule. A few things I added. I added a small collar to my neck using some foam and felt. The boots, I had these laying around for my Star Wars cosplay from AwesomeCon. Stormbreaker is looking great. It's actually really heavy. It's kind of hard to maneuver. So, yeah, I feel awesome in this. I feel kind of incredible. Bring me Thanos! Good morning and happy Halloween. It's time to fully debut my Thor Halloween costume. Time to add all the extra elements, including makeup and hair. Now, for my beard, I think I did pretty well for about 5 days, but I'm still going to add some stipple work to fill it out. I'm also going to spike my hair up.
Birthday!
It's also my birthday. Looking pretty good so far.
I'm a butterfly.
She's gonna be a butterfly.
I work with children.
So I'm actually gonna add some brown right now to add some more tones to it. But, you know, I'm pretty good with the beard. And that is how you fake a beard. For the hair, I'm gonna use just a ton of hair gel to spike it up a little bit. And I have just that. Kind of a metric ton of hair gel from when I was a Joker. Now Thor's hair is noticeably shorter than mine, but I'll have to do it for now. Now for the costume itself, I don't really think I should drive to work in it, because I don't know how tight the arm sleeves are, it might not be the best for driving, and I don't want to rip it in transit. So, I'm going to put on a hanger, and I'm going to put a trash bag over top of it, almost like a dress shirt. Makeshift dress bag. Except for the cape. Gotta find a way to put that in there as well. Think we're all packed up? Time to go to work and get changed. I'll see you then. Alright, I'm at work. Got my pants and boots on. Time to suit up. Oh yeah, Thor is at work. It's getting a little bit hot in this costume, but that's expected. Just got back from lunch. Costume's holding up pretty well. I got one pop seam on my shoulder. I'm getting really hot in this thing because it's pretty bulky, but people are really liking it, so that's a big plus. Okay, leaving work now. I thought I'd give my final thoughts on this year's costume. I think it held up extraordinarily well. I really only had 2 bits of damage, the arm sleeve, as I mentioned before, and part of the velcro on the main chest piece fell off, but the chest piece still is holding up really well. This has been an amazing costume building season. I'm really proud of the work that myself and Lindsay have accomplished. People were really impressed with Stormbreaker and how heavy it was. That was really fun to watch people try to pick it up, unbeknownst to the fact that it's entirely made out of wood. Now, obviously, because it's a work day, I couldn't go out and party with this costume on because it's a little bit restrictive in the movement. I really can't move my arms that much, or rather, I can't stretch. But I was able to do my work today, which is more than can be said with other costumes I've made, where I couldn't do anything. That's a big plus. And overall, I'm just really happy with how everything turned out. I looked in the mirror earlier today, and I saw the costume in full for the very first time, and I was really proud of it. So, thank you guys for watching this whole series. Thank you for enjoying the process, because I really had a blast building this costume. And as always, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.